Did you know that for 1 month the sun doesn't rise in Lofoten at all? From around the 7th of December until the 5th of January, the sun doesn't rise over the horizon. And you might be wondering if it's worth visiting at this time. Here are some pros and cons of things you can think about when deciding if you want to come visit in December or not. So this darkness period is called a polar night. It's when the sun doesn't go over the horizon. But even though it doesn't go over the horizon, it's still somewhat close to the horizon, so you still get some kind of daylight during the day, just not sunlight. And the weather otherwise, it's pretty cloudy during December, and this leads to a lot of snow or rain. And because of all the clouds, it also makes it even darker. So you have around 4 hours of daylight during the day, and then you have 20 hours of darkness. But what this means is that if you are hunting for northern lights, it might be behind the clouds. And I've had times when the clouds kind of break up and you will see the northern lights. I haven't really got a clear shot of the clear sky with the northern lights, so this is something to be prepared for. Because this is the low season, there aren't a lot of tourists, and therefore you also need to be prepared that some places might be closed, especially like small cafes and stuff. And another thing to keep in mind is that because of all the snow and the rain, it can become really dangerous to hike the mountains. And a lot of the hikes you see during the summer are actually quite dangerous taking in the winter. And there are a few where the government has to step in and maybe they are closing. For example, Reinebringen, where you see all the stairs and stuff. This is really dangerous to hike during the winter. So be careful when taking decisions of where you want to take a hike. If you're coming and not renting a car, and depending on the buses, there are much less buses during the winter. So you might be standing and waiting for a bus for hours, or it might not come at all. And for my pros, even though it can be cloudy, we can have sunsets for hours. And we had a few that's been really crazy, and it just never ended. And you also get this really soft, beautiful light in the winter. So you have the blue hour where everything kind of illuminates blue, and then you can get cotton candy clouds, and it is so beautiful. I would say that the lighting is so soft and nice, and just hitting the snow, it makes it really beautiful, I think. And also a photographer's dream, if you ask me. It's a great opportunity to slow things down. We all have very hectic everyday lives, and sometimes we just need to take things slower, and this is the perfect opportunity to do this. There are actually many events during December. We have a lot of Christmas markets. Rorbur have privately, and you have bigger one like Henningsvær, where the whole community comes together, and it's really magical. And then you have other kind of events. I went to Kvinnene fra havet, which means the ladies from the sea, where they presented their work and were selling stuff, and it was so beautiful. So these markets can be a little hard to find, so I will add the webpage where you can see a calendar of what will happen during what times. And often you have more things happening in the weekends, except for Henningsvær, which is open the entirety of December almost. Lofoten during summer are really crowded. So an advantage in coming in winter is that there are much less people, and you can even have some famous places by yourself. Even though December is a really cloudy month, there are days where the sky clears up and you can see the northern lights. In Lofoten there aren't that much light, so it's little light pollution, and you can see the pitch black sky with the northern lights dancing across. It's something really magical. I hope everyone gets to experience once in their lifetime. Even though Lofoten isn't too cold, the wind can make it really cold, and so I recommend bringing enough warm clothing. I have bought some heating soles, which are soles that you charge up and they will have some heat underneath. This has really helped me when going outside and waiting for the northern lights, especially when standing still. You can become really cold and your feet in the snow, it can be painful, so be prepared for this. I know there are also some kind of heating socks, which might be very good as well. Especially if you're coming northern lights hunting, I recommend renting a car. The buses don't really go at night and you don't want to be stuck somewhere far away and have to take a taxi. It's really expensive as well. So rent a car if you're coming to go northern light hunting. Because there aren't that many people here in winter, you can take walks in total silence. And it's something magical about this, just walking in the snow and looking up at the sky or maybe the northern lights and just experience the silence. This is also a really good opportunity to go grilling. It's really nice to sit around a warm fire and just grill some sausages or marshmallows or whatever your heart desire. Because the day is so short, I really recommend bringing a headlamp that you can have in your backpack just in case you get caught in the darkness. It's really useful to have, and in the winter you can see people in the mountains wearing headlamps. It's kind of pretty. And lastly, you can tell people that you have experienced the polar night. Not everyone has experienced this, so I think this is something really cool. I hope you have learned something and have come somewhat closer to choosing if you want to come in December or not. And I really hope I will see you in my next video as well.